Morning, Kana and Vincent. And we've got item number 7.5, the public transport operations update. Good morning. Other side. That's it.
Good morning, Chair and the committee members. I am here today to speak about public transport operational report. With your permission, Chair, I would like to take the report as read and highlight a few things. Firstly, I speak about the overall public transport performance of the last financial year, 24-25. Total annual bus and rail patronage has increased by 6.7%, and the fare revenue has increased by 43%. We have achieved 15% private funding share ratio, which is exceeding the NZTA's expectations of 13%. Next, I speak about the highlight of Q2, April to June public transport performance. In this quarter, across the region, bus patronage has reduced by 3.9% from the same quarter last year. We observed the decrease of patronage for the first time since COVID period. This may be impacted by the fare increase that took place a year ago, and also the fact we have not delivered major improvements in the PT network except wiper improvements. The full-year patronage has reduced by 42% in this quarter. This was mainly impacted by the track closures in Auckland. Despite of patronage decrease, fare revenue has been growing. Last year's Q2, the total PT revenue was approximately 1.3 million, and this year the revenue has reached 1.9 million. So we are increasing the revenues. Again, fare has increased in July by 11%. We may see further impact on patronage and the fare revenues, and we will keep monitoring. And lastly, I would like to highlight the fare capping analysis. As per request, we have analyzed how the weekly fare capping has been used, and we used the last fiscal year transaction data. That means B card data. Overall, the weekly fare capping is not well utilized across the current users, particularly for adult users. Only 10% of adult users have reached Zone 1 fare cap threshold. And fare capping was more frequently used by child and youth passengers. Approximately these child and youth passengers reached Zone 1 fare cap on a weekly basis. The dollar value of free trips after reaching the fare cap is approximately 400,000, which is small compared to the total annual revenue, which is around 6 million. Yeah, that's it, the highlights. Back to Chair.
Thank you, Kana. Angela, questions?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate the data and that's come through from the fare capping. Yeah, appreciate the team's effort in collecting that. So the amount of youth or children utilising the fare capping, just trying to look at where I made my notes. Yeah, 20%. Do other regions throughout New Zealand do fare capping, and is that sort of similar if they do, or?
Through you, Chair. As far as I know, I think we're the only region who is introducing the fare capping across our. So we're the only bids fare product.
Yeah, and I guess as Kana, as you've said, the amount that it costs us compared to the fare revenue that is coming in, it's fairly minor. Do we promote and advertise the fare capping much?
Yes, I believe so. I think it's part of our ongoing sort of marketing. We do promote, and where there's opportunity, we will engage with the users around the different sort of fare products that we roll out to our system. So I think obviously fare capping is a key one as part of our fare product.
Yeah, I understand that, a lot of households are, facing quite high costs at the moment, and getting their kids on buses to get to school, especially within Hamilton, is really important. Yeah, so I'm really keen to see that fare capping back in a little bit more, just to ease, cost of living for a lot of families. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for the data, and yeah, really important that we watch the fare increases with the patronage as well. We don't want, yeah, we want more people on the buses. Yeah, so yeah, looking forward to seeing the data in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, just my comment would be probably just the change from 24 to 25 and the ticket type from the youth and the infant that obviously has gone into the adult. Is that because of the subsidy that was stopped? Is that why the change of the ticket type's gone in there? Or is it the adult increase, the natural increase in the adults? And where's that youth and infants gone on your ticket type? Frowning at me, Kana.
So there was a category change in youth and child. So adult passenger type still in the adult. So how to say that?
I've virtually gone from the 24 to the 25 ticket type. I just wondered whether that was because of that subsidy that was lost. It is, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And the other question that I had, I can see that the gold cards increased by, I think, about 2%, which is also great news. Is that because of because we talked about the increase that we had with the rates, and it's great to see that the patronage hasn't gone down with that, because I thought it might have, because we kind of preempted what the government was doing. But also, you look at that Tahuia, and that was because, you brought it to WRC council, that it was because we were closed. It was at 4 weeks out of 28, which was not our fault. That was out of Auckland's, and that was a huge, big chunk to be, to see both revenue and patronage down. So I think it does vary that it has increased, to say, both with the rate rises and the patronages, that, people are still keen to use the public transport, both in the bus and Tahuia. And then especially with the report that we got off Walter this morning, with the possibility of increasing, patronage or public transport and the Golden Triangle, I think that'll add to the flavour as well. My 2 cents. Any other questions for Kana and Vincent? Yeah, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the report. I am intrigued by the bus driver facilities section, number 17 on page 59. And my initial response is it's great to see these things happening. Is this stuff that should have been happening, should have been in place years ago? Is it something that there's been a realization that, hang on, our bus drivers need these facilities because without them what do they do? How long are they on the buses for? What's the average shift? Is it an 8-hour shift or longer?
I don't know.
So,
Don't
so
know the answer.
the conversations with operators are ongoing, and we're always looking for opportunities to provide or support the operators to provide more facilities.
Yeah.
This particular opportunity has come from some funding that the NZTA have made available through a bid process. And regions across the country are wanting to do different things with the fund. So some are investing in driver screens, and others are looking at facilities and a range of other things as well. So the topics that the operators have asked us to investigate here led to the bids that we've put in, and in effect, the update is that the funding has been successful, and we're now able to implement with NZTA support.
Thank you.
But the shift patterns and the way that these facilities are used will vary route by route and operator by operator, but they operate within the driver licensing system. So there are set maximum hours that the drivers can operate vehicles for, and that sort of.
Thank you. All I'd say is that it's really good to see, and you feel for the drivers sometimes if the facilities aren't there or they need a break, or so that's really good to see that happening. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Kevin.
Thanks, Chair. And thank you for the report and the huge volume of data. I think I appreciate that. Overall, it paints a positive picture, except for Taupo. The only route that shows a huge increase, and I think we win the percentage, 325, but it's only on really small numbers, like 17 people. That's hardly worth celebrating. I would encourage a continued ongoing review of the service in the Taupo district, because you've got patronage dropping off, and I do know that the Taupo Turangi, although there's a small percentage drop off, there is room for extra service there, because that's what we're hearing out of that community constantly. If there was a service, they would use it. So it's one of those, if you build it, they'll come. One wonders, yeah.
Through your chair. So our staff are currently working with Taupo District Council as well. So we did notice the performance issues. So we are working with Taupo District Council around analysing the current data, and there would be a more targeted community survey going out as well, just to understand in terms of if there's any improvement can be made on the network. So we do expect there will be some minor changes to the network and timetables this year.
I'm just wondering if we can expand that conversation a wee bit as well from Taupo through into the Waitaimo district. The Mangakino service is not very far away from Benidale, and there's a potential for tourist route as well, through from Tikawiti to Benidale and through to Taupo. But also we have a very ageing population, and I'd really like to have those conversations in conjunction with Taupo and at a regional level. Yeah. Thank you.
Eugene?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just acknowledging part of the report there with the Tamahiri, Matangi and Tauwharipa. Really good to see the patronage and that increasing in that space. And I know that bit's fully funded by WDC, but it's proved that sometimes you've got to get these trolls out there and get out there and listen to the community and what they need and the wants. And we're really confident that that will continue to increase. And then let's hope it attaches itself to be able to be funded through the next NLTP. Thank you.
Yeah, Marianne?
One more, if I may. Page 111, which has got the map, which is really helpful. Just that visual, you can see what's going on. The missing link, of course, is the Coromandel. Is there any updates on where we might be in terms of linking Thames, Coromandel Town, Whitianga into that network?
That comes back to the update that Nigel provided in the bus contract renewal program.
Right.
So there were some network options included within that consultation, and we've received good feedback from the Coromandel community. And within the papers that went through our council at the end of August, there were descriptions of what future networks would be through the Hauraki towns and also into the Coromandel district. So I can share that with you, Mayor,
Thank
if
you.
you haven't received that. But
I might have seen it. I might have missed the relevant bits, so I would appreciate that.
thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Maybe just a final comment for everybody. We've had several requests for the results of that consultation, and they weren't included in depth within that council report, but just wanted to let everybody know that we are working on a summary of all of that feedback, including a statement of what was supported by council at the meeting in August, and we'd be looking to share that shortly with everybody. So we'll make sure that you're all included in that for your use within your communities as well.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, Andrew.
I was just going to say, well done on the private share targets being reached. Not everyone did that, I'm told, around the country. So nice work, WRC.
Okay, no more questions for Kana and Vincent. So we've got the report, public transport operations be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Thanks. Thanks, Maylene. Seconder, Eugene. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thanks. Thanks, Kana and Vincent. Right, we've got 7.6 now, safety cameras update, and we've got Graham Noble from NZTA, and Andrew's going down to join him. Yeah, you can do. Yep, as long as Brooke, just let Brooke know. Yep. Yeah, you're cool. Yep. 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 Let's get the girls organised here. 7.7. Hi, Andrew.
Perfect. Thank you, team.
Morning, Graham. How are you? Yep.
Very well, thanks.
So Graham is come up from Christchurch for this. He's our safety camera system integration lead. Managed to put in a couple of with police and others after this. So it's great that he's committed to travelling to an RTC rather than just being online as well. So thanks, Graham. Right, we'll run it as we usually do. I'll go through each slide and just feel free to let me know if there's a question on each one. So fairly free flow. It's a kind of a maintenance heavy one today, given the approaching maintenance season. So we'll move to the next slide. Thanks. So we're transitioning at the moment. All RCAs will be to the new code for our traffic management. Don't think I need to go into anything there, but we're obviously moving toward risk-based rather than a one-size-fits-all approach, and hopefully we notice that in some of the works that we're undertaking around the state highways over the coming summer. The next one. Sorry, we'll go to the next one after that. It's following on from it. Forward works planning. So historically, very few RCAs and utility operators have shared their forward work programs. So there's been variability in updating the national forward work program as project dates change. So there's some new conditions around the funding conditions that require forward work programs to be published through RCAs, through the National Forward Works viewer. So hopefully that leads to some better outcomes for road users and lower costs for roadworks, and ultimately will help with coordination, especially where there is state highway works and local road works, particularly detours happening at the same time, and it just allows both RCAs, both sides of the coin, to help plan together. Move to the next one. Looking ahead, coming summer, our new temporary traffic management centre has been set up. So this is where all traffic management plans for state highway works or on the state highway network go through to a central point rather than being managed potentially differently through our contractors. And this has been paying dividends so far already around areas we've seen particular concentration of activity through central Waikato, Northland and Taranaki. We've got a huge maintenance season coming up, which I guess will be interesting to see how it is managed as more and more requests come into this temporary traffic management centre nationally, alongside that large works program. Move on to the next one. So VSLs outside of schools are being installed at the moment. And fortunately, we're able to start in the Waikato, and I believe we've completed around the Coromandel Peninsula, or nearish enough. I think there were 7 schools in the end on the State Highway network. Should be completed by now. So where a gate to a school is accessed from a state highway, all of those schools should be within our program, and VSLs need to be in place by 1 July next year.
Question, if I may, Mr. Chair. Andrew, are those VSLs under the control of the school, so they can set the times and the speeds?
Yeah, I think we navigated this at a last RTC, and I think the answer was yes, there is some ability to flex, because we had the example, not Cora Glen, where's the
Tararinga?
It was the next
Whenua-Kite?
one up near Whenua-Kite,
Yeah.
I think, with regard to sports days and
Yeah.
other events, that it could be flexible around those times, so not just set to the school timetable.
Awesome, thank you.
We'll move through the next one and straight through to the next. Thanks, bro. This just gives a bit of a breakdown of where those VSLs are. So in the Waikato, we've got 47 of those going in. Some of them already have existing VSLs, but if those all brought into the same, in line the same. And Bay of Plenty you can see as well, significantly less, but great to be underway in the Waikato first. So we'll move on to a more regional update through 2 slides, please. So significant road rebuild program planned for this coming summer. So many resealing and resurfacing sites throughout the region, in addition to the regular summer maintenance. There's quite a scary map that you may see up there. That doesn't include our chip seal sites as well, but that's all of the planned and programmed works, which we're still working through with our contractors around best timing, because you'll see some that may impact on others, and then there'll be obviously local road works going on your own council areas that we need to make sure we're aligning with, so as to cause least disruption as well. Within that, you'll see the existing Te Reo to Waiuru accelerated maintenance project, so the last season of that work. This year we have no 24/7 closures, only overnight closures, largely in the South Waikato district, the Taupō district work, the largest component being Taupō to Turangi is being undertaken under stop-go. The Deputy Mayor drove through last week and only had, 2 or 3 minutes wait, which was exceeded our expectations, I think, and really, while it helped with our justification to not do a full closure on that route as well, we did expect the delays would be longer, and hey, we're still early days, but it's been going smoothly so far. And hopefully that continues as we do the work kicking off this week in the South Waikato district, which with some detours in place at night. I see there's been a few, not complaints, just worries, concerns raised in the last couple of days by some of the house moving companies. Obviously do their work at night, I'm worried about more traffic being on some of those smaller local detour roads. They would normally be utilising it themselves.
Neely?
Sorry, Andrew, one more if I may. Boundary Creek Bridge,
Mm.
full closure for 7 days or so after Labour weekend. Is that still on? Or is that in a
Yep,
different?
that's right. That's still on. That's up there, I believe. It might be covered somewhere on there, but
yeah, I'm
yes,
struggling to
Boundary
see
Creek
that.
Bridge, this
Yeah.
is just south of Coromandel town. So
Mm.
we're doing that work in the week after Labour weekend, where it's a one-lane bridge that needs to be redecked and needs a full closure.
And congratulations on the comms and the engagement with the community up there. There's some really good positive feedback, just keeping them in the loop, letting them know. So well done.
Yeah, we appreciate the council support there, and your councillor up there has been really good,
Good
to
man.
interact with too. We do have quite a bit on the Coromandel this year, and you know, Moana Anu Bridge, Whangamata on the bypass will be closed at some point. Luckily, there's an easy detour there through town, which most people take anyway. And the other one we're still working through will be 25A through Kopu Hikawai, and how we'll do some of those works through there. So nothing's been confirmed in terms of timing at this point.
Is that likely to be a full closure?
It's
Too
definitely
early.
an option still, but
Okay.
nothing confirmed.
Because the detours involved are significant,
Significant, yep.
as you know.
And I mean, this is part of a discussion we have between NZTA and contractors at the moment. We've obviously given a bit of license for full closures through the Te Reo Te Waiuru work. So it can be a bit of a go-to sometimes, but we need to really reality test that alongside the works that's required and the detour routes available. But yes, that's still an option there.
Just, sorry, Andrew, while you're still on maintenance, I've noticed on quite a bit of the networks, this new matting that you've put down underneath a low bit of tar seal and metal coming up on quite a few areas. Is that what's the story with that? I
Just
know.
that Highway 1.
Yeah, well, yeah, I noticed it in between, when I come up in between Tokoroa and Tauru, and then also up the Napier Taupo road. It's quite bad up there where all the matting's virtually lifted up underneath it, and a whole lot of shingle, broken windscreens just with trucks, you know. They have brushed it off, but I just wondered whether that's something new that you've been doing, that matting underneath the road.
I don't know about the specific
Yeah.
builds or the materials used, but I do know we've had a few issues that we need to address.
Right.
On State Highway 1 within my patch, I'm not aware of outside
Yeah.
the Napier Taupo area.
And then your new depot on the corner in the Napier Taupo road, when's that due over? I think
Commercial vehicle
Yeah.
safety site. Maybe in this, I'm not sure of
Oh,
the
right.
exact date, but I know all the traffic management has been removed, which is providing a lot less complaints, because at one stage it looked like there was no work underway with lots of traffic management in place while the calibration was taking place.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
We'll move on to the next one, which I think covers Coromandel. Well, maybe it's we've been on Te Reo Te Waiuru. We'll jump to the next one, which is the Coromandel slide there, Marilyn. Nothing should surprise you in that, I don't think. It reflects all our discussions recently. Epe Stream Bridge obviously still going through that design phase as well, and hoping late next year to get that underway in Tairua.
Just a question around the Pepe Stream Bridge, and I was at a meeting with the Tairua community on the weekend. Lots of questions around community consultation, and they're fairly comfortable based on what's happened so far that will happen, but also around the integration of the centre of the township and how that's going to be affected with the 2-lane bridge and traffic movement and parking. So I might take this offline and have a chat with you afterwards, but just lots of concerns raised around what's likely to happen through the centre of town once we've got a 2-lane bridge.
Yeah.
There.
And some of that will be hard to predict, but let's have a chat.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have a chat later. Thank you.
Beauty. Can move on to the next one. Cambridge to Piereti, we're sitting waiting really for the EPA to provide us a consent decision at the moment. So you'll hear about that through me, those relevant councils when that happens. And we're looking at community drop-in day as well, if you want to note that down, Wednesday 19th of November in Cambridge too. So that's, if it all goes well through the next one, please. Hamilton Southern Links, nothing new to report here. We're still awaiting our board to receive the investment case this month. And we'll see what flows from there, given there's still a national exercise that needs to be done around funding and prioritisation for all our roads of national significance. We don't quite know how that will land regionally at this point. Next one, speed and safety. So this is just a few of our safety improvements that we have ongoing at the moment. Biggest one would be State Highway 5, the construction of the roundabout at Harwood Road, State Highway 28 intersection with State Highway 5, which is underway at the moment. And we also have speed reviews open consultation again, and largely Mayor Len's patch. So a lot going on in Coromandel. So we were fortunate to receive some funding to able to target some of the sites that had a real community focus, particularly over the last summer, where we had removed the interim speed limits post Cyclone Gabrielle that were no longer enforceable. And we're looking at what is realistic up in those sections of State Highway 25 now for the community, and receiving feedback on that through to the start of October, is it? As well as a couple of other variable speed limit signs for Marae, in your district, Mayor Adrian, and intersection speed zone at Rains Road, Airport Road. Well, move on. I'm coming to a conclusion with a lovely picture of our roundabout at 29-1, which is has the final blessing next Monday. She should be moved off this week. So happy to take any further questions on anything there or anything beyond presentation. Then I can hand to Graham.
And it is a wonderful roundabout. I went around it this morning, so thank you. But that's not what I want to talk about. I note in the variable speed limit sites and in the future speed reviews, and so I'm going to have to bang this drum again, Motateri does not feature, and I'm aware that was the subject of full consultation, and the speed limit was increased back to 100. And within a very short period of time, there was a fatality in that exact location. So this isn't a question of if we do this and wait for something to happen, it's already happened. My concern is that the consultation lumped a length of the state highway network north and south of what is should be a low speed zone altogether, and unsurprisingly everybody, or the vast majority, went, yes, we want an increased speed limit. But I doubt very much whether that would have applied to an area where a significant pedestrian traffic occurs all summer long. Now this is the second week in September. We have a very limited window before that motor camp fills up, and there are people crossing that highway all summer long on a 100k limit. So Andrew, this is not a shot at you, but this is really a shot at the decision makers who respectfully got it wrong. It's a fundamental mistake to raise that to 100k. We have a motor camp and a state highway going right through the middle of it. So there will be correspondence from Taupo District Council. I just want to raise it here that is not a disaster waiting to happen, because it's already happened, sadly, tragically. What I don't want to see is that happening again, and if I'm at the table after the job interview we're all going through, end up going, I told you so. I do not want to be in that position. So I'd have to say it's disappointing to see it's not under a future speed review because I'm conscious that that's already happened. But my comments, as I've already said, I think you got it wrong. Or NZTA got it wrong, including that motor camp and a wider section for speed review. Thanks.
Noted. And yeah, we've implemented the new rule. We are looking at what can we do at Teri at the moment, but your advocacy appreciated, because that will help us.
I'll just add on to that, sorry, Andrew, is that it comes straight after the bully point, you know, and that's another big factor for people speeding up and doing stuff that they probably shouldn't do, you know, getting stuck behind a truck or a, you know, slow vehicle going around those three sisters or the three corners there, especially coming out of Bully Point. You're virtually on straight on Motateri, and it is a straight that goes right along that motor camp, so that's where people are trying to overtake because they're stuck behind a truck. So that I think that adds to the danger as well, not only being a motor camp but just coming straight out of that Bully Point. Yeah, Phil.
So, Chair, can I suggest, in the context of the submission that we've already talked about this morning, that we're preparing for the current consultation, that we reuse some of the material that we have already included in our submissions to that location within that, take the opportunity to raise the profile of that issue within the NZTA process.
Well, through the chair, if we're going to do that, can I suggest that we differentiate the length of highway north and south, that this is a specific area with a motor camp smack across the state highway. No problem with further south, big long straights, and it makes sense for a consistent speed limit. It does not make sense to include the motor camp in the middle. It's a bit like having a school on a state highway and you ignore the fact the school's there and you just have a blanket bit. So my plea would be any submission separates that out. Yeah.
Sorry, Neil.
We got that, Nigel.
One more, Andrew, and I'll stop pestering you. I'm sorry. So this has been passed on by my team with a plea to raise with you again Kopu roundabout. We'd like that, please, or something similar. They'll never notice that it's gone, but it's messy. It's an unattractive entry to the town. There was a budget of 80K and it was reduced to 60K from NZTA. But the question that's been asked is, can a local contractor be used? Can that be handed over to us to do it? And again, I'm raising it here, but maybe it's something we can take offline. I just wanted it to, on the record, that raised that with you. And maybe we can have a look at options to what might be available to
chat about that. So just to be clear, it's existing roundabout function is okay. It's more around the tidiness and vegetation aspects.
Yeah, it's scruffy and messy and unmown, but the roundabout itself works fine.
Rodney.
I'm just curious. I get asked a lot. Like, for instance, that roundabout there. Why don't they put a slip lane? Like for instance, if you're heading north, how come you've got to decelerate, go to the roundabout, then accelerate? Why couldn't they have just made?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Oh, that's.
I'm sure I can come back with an answer at
I'm just curious why you really only need a roundabout if you want to cross the road, sort of, so to speak.
There will have been a specific
in
the design of that roundabout. I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Because they've done the same thing at the airport one back here. You know? Okay. I'll let you find out.
Yeah, could it have something to do with that there's a property off there, so you've already got an existing road, and to do a slip like, yeah, it would have been probably a thing that there's a few houses in that side road that were originally on Highway 1. Whether there's who knows? Not an engineer, but still.
Yeah, but the one, if you're going to go to Matamata or towards the Tauranga, there is a big slip road they built for the construction of it. I mean, why not just tar seal it, and that any traffic going that way doesn't have to go to the roundabout. This is what obviously we're not engineers, but yeah, just curious, right?
We can add that into the mix. capture it in a minute. Just note as well, the Opal CVSC station that we mentioned before is operational April 26.
Well, yeah, on one of the ones that use this roundabout State I, 29 and 1, I think it's fantastic, the improvement of what it was. So, and I do appreciate one of the other councillors brought that up as well about the slipstream, but yeah, I think it's improved the traffic 100%, especially being a two-lane roundabout.
It may have something to do with the Cambridge to PRD designation,
Yeah.
where that will lie in future as well.
Okay, if there's no more questions, we'll just move your report, Andrew, and then we'll go on to Graham. So can I have a mover and a seconder for Andrews? Thank Angela, and second by Andrew.
Excuse me, Chair, can I?
Yep.
Thank you. Just want to say, isn't it frustrating when we sit around the tables like this? And I mean, Kevin's raised a really good point about safety, and there's already issues there, but we have to go through such a prolonged process to look at turning it around and that. And where is there systems in place where we can have some sort of authority, whether it's through this RTC or you sitting in your position, Andrew, where you can deal with issues, and whether you have a temporary, reduction in speed until it's looked at properly further. Because what happens is there's a huge risk that there could be more deaths in that space. Well, the system is so structured in a way that it takes forever and a day to get somewhere. And we all sit around here, there's just sometimes a real lack of common sense in that. And it's not just here, it's just how the systems we live in and deal with, but it's just damn frustrating to see, Kevin's raised an extremely good point there. And
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
it's
just a
conversation
comment.
that Kevin and I have had
just
in the last week. So things are happening in the background, but when you're dealing with legislation, you've got to be within those confines.
Andrew?
Yeah, just to follow on from that, because that's probably one of the things around getting speed limits changed with growing towns and that as well, and being able to shift when you've got two highways in your town and you're trying to shift a 50 and 70 out a little bit, and was in place and then got unwound. And I guess the challenge is what is deemed to be common sense and what's the, because there's some safety solutions that are actually quite practical, but they've been caught up in this whole pendulum swing, hasn't it really? So I guess that's something that maybe we have to lobby about going forward, is can there be some kind of lever that can be pulled for really practical safety solutions? Because some of the, some things are more subjective than others, but some are really practical, aren't they? And it's, if you've got the evidence.
I think that the issue as well will become, and you see what's happened in Tamaheri with the chicane example, right? There's always two sides in terms of community feeling. So having some kind of evidence base that can be acted upon, yes, sounds great. I mean, I came into this role 10 months ago and had no experience in the sector, and what's involved with changing a speed and the gazetting of that, the legalisation, the money required, and the pre-programming and resource needed to deliver on it, has surprised me somewhat.
Yeah, I think, as I said before, safety was really, really high in this committee's minds when we did our RTLP plan, and we realise it's got nothing to do with you, Andrew. It's what comes down from central government, and the capabilities are then for NZDA to come into what we would like done in this area. I mean, obviously you see the statistics and the deaths, we're still right up there, right around New Zealand. So yeah, we'll just keep on advocating through this committee and the different avenues through our staff that know that they can, send in submissions and stuff like that. So we do appreciate that you're here and you hear us too, Andrew. So yeah. If there's no more questions, we've got that the Regional New Zealand Transport Agency be received, and we've got a mover and a seconder there. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, Graham, we'll let you go ahead with your
Thank you, Chair, and
Yep.
thank you, committee members. I'll just give a little introduction to myself while we're waiting on the slides coming up. So I'm Graham Noble. I'm the Safety Camera System Integration Lead at NZTA. We kind of look after the probably two parts. So the sort of more operational deployment of the cameras in terms of how we're delivering road safety outcomes, as well as working with local partners. So my role has a number of touch points in New Zealand Police, for example, as well as local council officers as well. And if you're okay to go to the next slide, Brooke. So this is really just an update on where we're at with the safety camera system at NZTA. So in line with the road safety objectives, we were due to transition safety cameras from New Zealand Police to the Transport Agency. I'm pleased to say we have now met that outcome. So as of the 1st of July, NZTA is solely responsible for safety camera operations in New Zealand. So through that transition process, we've transferred over about 150 cameras from New Zealand Police. And by 2027, we're looking to expand the network to around 200 cameras. I'll touch on the different camera types a little later in the presentation, but spot speeds, mobiles, and red lights were ones that were formerly operated by New Zealand Police. When we talk about average speed or point-to-point camera systems, this is a new technology that we're introducing in New Zealand. And so some construction has started, and some of these cameras are actually now enforcing in terms of the expansion. So we've got new cameras operational in Northland and Auckland. And in terms of the Waikato region, we've begun construction on a pair of average speed cameras on State Highway 2 between Pocono and Mangatawhiri. Be able to go to the next slide, please.
Sorry, so Graham, would you mind bringing that mic a bit closer to you? We're just struggling to hear a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I'm very soft-spoken Scottish accent, so I do apologise for that. I do kind of ask if people can hear me and understand me at the start of most presentations, but yeah. Just going on to the other parts of our framework. So we've got a safety camera network framework that is published online and is publicly accessible. That kind of sets out how we want to design and operate safety cameras at NZTA. I'm not going to obviously go through it all in detail, but it's really based around 6 key principles. So I just want to kind of give the committee an opportunity to get an understanding for what those are. Whole of system really just focuses on the fact that safety cameras aren't safety intervention in isolation, and we have to consider how those can complement wider investment in infrastructure through local and central government, as well as how it looks at wider speed management around speed limit settings and how those can all interact with each other. And partnership with New Zealand Police is actually a really critical principle for us as well. While safety cameras have transitioned, it doesn't obviously remove the key role that police play in terms of officer-led enforcement across the network. So really that's just acknowledging that we are co-enforcers on the network, and we want to work very collaboratively with New Zealand Police as how we respond to concerns and safety issues across our communities. The deterrence before detection is actually, I think, designed based on deterrence in the framework. It's just a languaging thing, but it just really acknowledges that key role for us is to make sure our comms and engagement is really proactive. You know, we want to give people the opportunity to do the right thing, to, you know, adjust their behaviors accordingly before we have to take enforcement action. So it's just recognizing that as one of our key principles. Fair and transparent is really just an acknowledgement that, you know, we want to be a firm and fair regulator. So, you know, we want to, again, give people those opportunities. We're not out hiding in hedgerows. You know, we are just generally trying to make ourselves visible. We have taken measures now to sign the fixed camera network, for example. So that is now highly overt and very visible to the public while driving. And reducing inequity is just an acknowledgement that, you know, not all demographics experience road harm equitably across New Zealand, and we have a key role to play to reducing that inequity. And intelligence-led decision-making probably just ties into our fact we use on a number of data sources to model where we think we can get the highest benefits, but it doesn't remove the need we have for engagements like this on, you know, getting local knowledge through council officers and through New Zealand Police in the road policing districts. So it's just really acknowledging that role that our community play, how we make decisions around enforcement. And go to the next slide, please. I'll give you a quick overview, and I'll promise I'll try not to be too technical. But these are the safety camera systems we've got currently either active or being delivered for New Zealand. So our spot speed safety cameras are just a single spot speed camera. So it sits in one location and enforces speeds at a particular point in both directions. Usually highly targeted to a particular risk on the network. Red light intersection cameras, some of you may be familiar with those, but those are just essentially cameras looking at the traffic signal on the stop line just to make sure people are complying with those signal instructions and not running through the red lights. Mobile safety cameras, so these are operated covertly across the network. And that's just really an acknowledgement that, particularly on local rural roads, just because there's never been a DSI in that location before doesn't mean that there won't be in the future. So it's just trying to be a bit more proactive in reminding people that, increasing your speed and exceeding over the posted speed limit increases your likelihood of having a crash, increases the consequence of any crash that may occur. So just really reminding people anywhere across the network, we may be out there enforcing and, just encouraging them to do the right thing. And the new piece of kit in town is the average speed camera systems. So these are two safety cameras located a distance apart. So the first one will take a number plate recognition, a timestamp. We know the measured distance to the second part. We then take a second timestamp and we can calculate using some good old high school maths. Speed equals distance over time. We'll be able to work out average speeds over. A couple of big benefits with average speed camera systems. We know internationally people have tended to find them fairer from a road user perspective. It's not that momentary lapse in concentration that encourages you to potentially slip over the speed limit. It's actually extended over a large distance, which suggests there's a more long-term pattern of non-compliance. And the other benefit being that they are over a corridor rather than an individual location, so we can really extend those benefits out over long distances as well. And we go to the next slide, please. Just a little bit about how we identify sites. We do use, obviously, our crash or collision or our trauma information on the road network, but we also look at a little bit more detail as well. We're looking at whether there's particular crash types that we suggest a speed or a safety camera is the right intervention. We're looking at evidence of high-risk behavior. So that's generally, are we seeing high levels of non-compliance? Do we think there's a really good case for a safety camera to be located there? As well as the function of the roads. We know some of our fixed cameras should really be targeted at some of those higher volumes because that's where we're typically more likely to see road trauma occurring more regularly. So we're just kind of using all that information to inform our decision-making process. And as I've said, mobile cameras are looking at that network event, so that's why they're so that's why they're moving around much more mobilely. We can go to the next slide, please. And this is just a bit of a summary for the safety cameras we have in the Waikato region. So those with the camera clicks, symbols are ones that we've got transitioned from New Zealand Police. So those are our spot speed cameras. And I believe there's 7 we've got through the Waikato region. And we've now got that new green circle is just showing the average speed camera system we're proposing up in Pocono-Tamango. Probably just moving out with the fixed cameras, though, some of the key things we really want to get across. Nationwide, we're operating about 80,000 hours annually for mobile camera operations. That's pretty consistent with the targets and expectations we'd set through the old road safety partnership for New Zealand Police. So we're retaining that target. And what that means for the Waikato regions will be thousands of hours of enforcement undertaken across all of the areas within the region. Running a 24/7, anytime, anywhere operation. So drivers who choose to speed can expect to receive a notice from us or a New Zealand police officer. Happy to take any questions.
Just the revenue out of those, Graham, does that go straight back into roading? Is it boxed or does it go to, where does it go?
So any infringement fees go into the government's Crown Consolidated Fund, so it just goes back into the general pot for central government.
Any other questions, Graham, Rodney?
Do they do the seatbelts too, or not yet?
No, not at the moment.
No.
So we know that mobile phone and restraints cameras are a bit more of an emerging technology, particularly in Australia now. We're seeing a lot more of them, but to undertake those in New Zealand, we need legislative change. So we'd have to work with Ministry of Transport around any changes there.
Next question. Mobile phones were after that this morning. They work in Aussie, the mobile phone detection, I can tell you.
Okay, any more questions for Graham or Andrew?
I'd just note that this has been quite a smooth transition, probably from what it could have been. But just acknowledge Graham and the wider team nationally that have been working on this New Zealand Police. Well, there's a whole heap of potential for this space to grow and help meet some of those safety targets. We've just due to the flexibility we will have as the operator here as well, working alongside New Zealand Police. Thanks, Graham.
Be even better that we could advocate that it does go back into our roading network and stuff to make it more safety and more durable, wouldn't it? You know? Okay.
I've got
s-
one
oh,
more
yeah, Rodney,
question.
sorry.
I'm just curious because basically if you speed past the speed camera too often in a truck, you can lose your license. Is that going to be the same with car drivers eventually? Or?
So in terms of safety cameras at the moment, they're slightly different from officer issued offences. So there's no demerit points, safety cameras in New Zealand. So there
Yeah,
would be,
but I understand that, but they can still take your truck license off you if you go past too many times past the speed camera.
It'd be up to the individual
Because you're not a
employee.
proper person, but they.
Employer, sorry.
No, this isn't an NZT. It's like take the
Oh,
license,
what?
they take the truck license off a person if they go past it. So you don't get demerits, but they can, the computer will go back and go, well, this person's been 5 times past the speed camera, so it hasn't changed his behaviour. So they remove your truck license for a period.
is that
Are they going to do that with motorists? Or?
I'm not aware of us looking at. Have to double check that. I think that might be something that comes to commercial licensing space and
Okay.
rather through the safety camera system.
Okay. Right. Thanks very much for Graham coming all the way up from Christchurch and presenting this report to us. It's been really good. So we've got a motion here that the safety camera update be received. Can I have a mover and a second for that? Thanks, Kevin. Second by Claire. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thanks again, Graham. Andrew. Okay, next we've got KiwiRail. Lisa. Quite welcome to stay where you are if you'd like to. Yep.
Thank you. If you want to move on to the next slide. So I'll just start today with a little bit of an update on a couple of safety initiatives. We've gone too far. The first one is one we've already spoken about today, Matamata fencing. I'm pleased to say that the fencing is installed now. Obviously, as you've highlighted, it's not all of the story, but it's great to have that completed so quickly and efficiently from when we agreed that it was going to happen. And I think the feedback from the team is that it's taken a real crowd of people to make that happen, and it's been really seamless. So thanks particularly to Mayor Adrian for all the support, because it's been fantastic to see that all coming together. The second project that we're really happy is underway is the Ngarawahia Bridge. This one has been problematic for quite some years, and I think about 7 odd years ago there was unfortunately a fatality there as well. There is fencing, and the fencing's been improved. Kids want to get up on a bridge and jump off it. Unfortunately, there are limitations. However, further safety works, what we're trying to get to so that we don't have those situations happening again, and hopefully the community will support that, and we're at the end of the design phase and just planning the construction phase now. So happy to say that those are underway. Next slide, thank you. Okay, so in the year to June 25, so from July 24 through to June 25, we've got quite a lot of work that's been delivered for under the Rail Network Improvement Program. So $40 million worth of renewals have been finalised, and more track renewals actually above the forecast 6 kilometres. So we've managed to complete 8 kilometres, which is great. We've had 9 turnout replacements, so that's improving safety and reliability. The cross and they are the cross tracks. KiwiRail's also got our grinding and major plant replacement programs continuing, so that's going to be a forever program. Rail grinding's not going to go away, but we're happy that those programs are still funded and we can keep going. We also did quite a bit of slope stability work on Bryce Street in Hamilton on the ECMT, and that hopefully will hold and ensure that we get reliability and resilience in a longer term sense. Got a picture there for you of a train coming down the bank at Pokeno, which is it's a nice thing to see a train in its natural environment. So, okay, on to the next slide. Thanks, Brooke. Sadly, no, I couldn't find one of those in the archive. 2027 to 2030 Rail Network Investment Program. We are starting our work on that. Well, we've been going with that. We sort of immediately we finish one, we start the next one, but like the land transport plans. So that one is currently underway we're doing significant amount of lessons learned. We've had 2 ARNPs and this will be the 3rd one. And each time we've refined and refined and refined. Our asset management systems are significantly better than when we started that journey. I'm pleased to say what we really, really need is the funding certainty, which we've lost a little bit, unfortunately, but we do feel that the message is getting through that long lead planning and procurement activity that benefits us from having a 10-year forecast, but a 3-year solid work plan, that will bring efficiencies and value for money that will be over and above what we can do now. We've sort of reduced down to a 2-year funding envelope, and we're waiting to hear what our invitation is for next budget to see whether we can get ourselves back to 3 years. So we're hopeful and we will continue to advocate. But anything that you can do to support us, please feel free to. What we would like to do a little bit differently for the 2027 to 2030 program is to engage a bit wider, and that includes with regional committees so that we can actually make sure that what we think is prioritised, what our customers think is prioritised, makes sense to you and you can support it. And we can also make sure that there's also that feedback loop to sense check, that we haven't missed anything that's really important. So that's something that we're forming up now. I'm guessing that sometime early next year we'll be back to talk about how is that going to front up in reality. It's easy to talk about, it's quite hard to plan, and there's quite a lot of stakeholders to engage with. So by mid-26, we'd like to have things in a state to be able to be engaging in earnest. So that's how we're going. We are dependent upon the GPS for 2027. The work is underway, although not directly with KiwiRail. I think NZTA are doing quite a lot of work at the moment in hand with the Ministry of Transport to start looking into different aspects of what might be incorporated, and yeah, we'll be advocating for things like the Golden Triangle electrification to remain, or the Golden Triangle itself to remain a priority for the government, but also some of the other projects that we've got around resilience and reliability to also continue to be advocated for. And passenger rail obviously was part of the last GPS, which we'll be hoping remains as a priority. The final ARNP completion will be somewhere between early and mid. I'd like to think early 2027, since it's going to be enacted in the mid 27, and then it needs to go off to the Minister for approval. We do have the ARNP 2 up on our website at the moment. There's about to be an amendment to that, so that will go up shortly, but we're just waiting for Minister's signature to finalise that one. So it's been a really long time since the change in government to get that sorted. So we're hoping the next one is not quite as challenging. Next slide, thanks, Brooke. Okay, the New Zealand Upgrade Program. So we've got great progress on the Drury and Pairata stations. Top right there, you'll see some drone footage of Pairata station. Essentially, the access to the station is from State Highway 22, and that work is, as you can see, quite well progressed around about there. We've got, I think we started construction early last December, and we've got maybe another, where are we now? A couple of months before we're well into completion stages, which is great, and opening of the stations is expected to be early 2026. So they remain on track. We're really happy with the progress. Down the bottom there, you'll see Drury Station footbridge, which is now in place, and that's as at August, so it's very recent. But these will come together. Obviously, all the below track work had been done previously, so we're really in the above rail sort of space of getting all of the buildings, car parking, etc., There's about 350 car parks at each station. So whilst it's a shame people drive to a railway station to get on a train, at least they're not driving into the city. And yeah, looking forward to City Rail Link opening up next year and enabling those faster and more efficient services to continue. The Ngakaroa station, which is only just entering its procurement phase now, so we're in market or about to be in market. If we're not, I think we're in market now for existing for the early stages. We've got 2 packages of work, civils and building, what we're calling the buildings part of the program, and those will be awarded and we'll start construction around November. We've had a lot of settlement activity done as pre-works on that station. And there's been a significant amount of delays. So we had a delay from a developer challenging the location of the station, which went through a court situation, which entirely found in KiwiRail's favour that we had followed the correct processes and engagement for that. So that sort of gave us maybe a 12-month delay. But in addition to that, we've had some property land acquisition challenges as well. So we're working through the later stages of that. We have just entered into a lease agreement with the last landowner, which gives us the ability to start work. So that's now confirmed. And as I say, station opening early 2027. Unfortunately, it's not likely to be mid next year, which we were hoping for. But we will pull the program back as far as we can. If we can open in 26, that would be a major victory for us. So yeah, really happy with that program. I'll just also, I don't have a slide on it, but I will mention that there was an announcement this morning that Alstom have been awarded the contract to deliver the trains for the Lower North Island for Wellington Metro. So 18 trains will be delivered, and I think 2028 might be the time frame for that. KiwiRail also has a package of infrastructure works on the Manawatu line, which we will be delivering, and yeah, looking forward to having improved metro services down there in the Lower North Island as well. A new adventure. Next slide, thanks, Brooke. Okay, Rail Safety Week. So the 11th to the 17th of August, we were lucky enough this year to have the launch at Parliament with the Right Honourable Winston Peters there to, well, somewhat derail, but also to speak. Bless him. High vis came into focus. Why he has to say about safety and a safety launch, I don't know. Anyway, the theme this year: stay off, stay safe. Tracks are for trains. We got lots of support this year. Really fantastic, and I think we had SAD, S-A-D-D. We had Declan came along and spoke, and I heard today that he's going to also be part of your campaign coming up. And we also had Her Worship Adrian come along and speak, and it was a fantastic event. I think probably the warmest one that we've had for Rail Safety Week to date, which is fantastic. But yeah, really good visibility across the week. Obviously, safety isn't all year round, all day, all week, all month, all minute type thing that we want to keep. So our team will continue their safety messaging, including our infrastructure team and our community team, going out to schools and going out to various organisations to try and make sure in those hotspots that we have some good safety. The next slides, we don't need to go through them, but I've attached into the pack so that you all have it, the digital support. Brooke, if you want to just flick through them. This is what's available online. You keep going. And we've also got, if anybody does want any campaigns or any extra going through their schools, we're very happy to do that. We have some collateral that we can give. We have colouring in competitions and trains that people can put together, particularly kids, but adults actually seem to quite like them as well.
What about their billboards, Lisa?
What's that, sorry?
They put their billboards up on your railway tracks?
La, 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 la. Yeah. Yeah, we did actually, funnily enough, Drury stations, we did have somebody mount a camera on one of our overhead poles. So as we were erecting them, suddenly came to our attention that somebody had decided that there were trespassers around the place and had managed to erect their own safety cameras. But by trespassing on the corridor to get them up there, which is quite concerning. But yeah, anyway, there's a couple more pages, I think, but if you head to our site or TrackSafe site, there are links to posters and paraphernalia, and our team will be happy to provide you with anything you want. That one just one back, NZTA also did a great safety video, which I think is going down really well, a graphic novel for the kids in years 7 to 8, although my kids would have said they weren't kids age, but anyway, they are. So, you know, we're getting better and better every year at delivering collateral that actually kids will look at and understand, and we can just hope that the messaging gets through. So thanks to everybody for their support of Rail Safety Week. It's really appreciated.
Thank you, Lisa. Any questions for Angela?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the update. And especially the information around what's happening in the Auckland metro area as well. I guess for our region, yeah, we're looking forward to that funding to expand beyond Auckland, especially, yeah, given the significance of the Golden Triangle, but also acknowledging that, you know, Auckland from Pukekohe up, you know, people living in Tuakau and Pokeno, you know, they don't see a paper boundary or anything. So, yeah, really looking forward to where the next GPS might take us, and your ANUP as well. So, yeah, thanks for the work and the report.
Thank you. I believe our teams are working really closely on the Tahuia program with you. So we're very supportive of the expansion of services. We need to get to the next milestone and make sure we get through it.
Jing.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Lisa, for the report. Just in regard to the Ngāruawāhia Rail Bridge, it's an issue that's been there since day one, and it's not going to go away. It's just how we work together and it's all about education. And I just have to acknowledge KiwiRail have been really good in the years, and since the death of the young girl, an 11-year-old girl, a few years back, the Ngāruawāhia Community Board subsidises the local pools by 50%, you know, just to try to get kids out of the river and you know, being in a safe environment. And we did a lot of work together with KiwiRail on that in the few years post the death. And we probably just need to touch base again and sort of work together, because the community board, the community is very passionate about trying to reduce the kids being on the bridge. It's not going to stop, but how we really limit it as much as possible. So we really appreciate what KiwiRail's done in the past, getting into the schools and education, and leading up to the summer is the most important part. So as the kids you get to that early December and the weather gets a bit warmer, you get December, January, February, March is where you get, you know, a lot more kids on that bridge. So putting that education before they will break up before the end of the year is really paramount and very important. So maybe we can touch base through the council and link up with the community board.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Thank you. Be happy to get some.
Thanks, Eugene. Jeanette.
Sorry, on far less serious topic than that. Just wondering about the Manawatu. You talked about the Manawatu and we looked at the electrification down to Palmerston North. Is there a plan to continue down to Waikanai or Wellington with that electrification at that end of the island?
Anything on the scheduled plans at this stage? I think it's possible that will come back up over the next sort of 3 to 5 years, but at this stage we're focusing on what we think is going to bring the biggest benefit for the network, and we don't want to distract anybody from funding that to start with.
Understandable.
And then we'll move ourselves along as we go. I mean, yes, we'd love the whole network to be electrified. That makes perfect sense. But the new trains for the Wellington network are they dual mode as well? So we will get electrification benefits from the fact that, well, battery benefits from not having to have the diesel locos, full diesel locos operating in that network.
Thank you.
Andrew.
I was just going to shout out the Telephone Road opening. So I know it was frustrating and took a long time and had some ministerial intervention, but the road was actually open, and it probably should have been in my highlights as well today. State Highway 1B is flowing again, so thanks KiwiRail for your contribution to that too.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, I just also wanted to add, just with Rail Safety Week and obviously going down to the launch of the week, and how this isn't just about people crossing the line illegally. It's actually think of the drivers and what they experience, because a number of drivers have experienced deaths more than once, and it actually stops them from, that's quite significant. And I think people need to look beyond some things and actually think of the people that are also affected. And it's the same with the emergency services. There are people in our communities, and small communities often know these people, and so its impact is actually really quite significant. And I think, and of course it's been going on in Aroha for years. It's an intergenerational thing, there's no doubt about it, and that's the behaviour that we've created with no fencing. And you don't hear the trains. People say you hear the trains coming. You don't hear the trains. I was at the memorial after the tragedy that we had in Matamata, and we were standing right beside the railway line, and a train came up from behind, and we didn't hear it until it was right beside us. So people think you hear trains. You don't hear them. They're battery diesel as well. So there's lots of factors there that the average person doesn't understand. You can hear trains from a distance, the clickety-click, clickety, but when you're right beside it, it's amazing how you don't hear it. So I just really want to really put that out there as well. It's a very emotional issue. You can obviously tell that in my voice, and really feel for the drivers, because they have faced a lot of near misses. You just have to look at the footage of the near misses that are on the website as well. And people in cars, it's not good, and it's not fair on the drivers. I really really have to stress that one.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Andrew, any more questions for Lisa? Got a resolution here that the KiwiRail update be received. Can I have a mover and second? Thanks, Eugene, and seconder. Thanks, Rodney. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Okay, folks, before Phil does the karakia, I'd just like to, first of all, wish everyone good luck with their elections for the new term. It'd be lovely to see you back here. But on this committee, I'd just like to say I've been proud and honoured to chair this committee with all yous on it, and especially having NZTA, Andrew and Graham and Lisa from KiwiRail and Walter. Been absolutely fantastic having yous at the table over the last 3 years too. I think that connection between those two entities, and then of course through to central government, which we all rely on funding, and it has been trying over the last 3 years, but I think we have achieved some great stuff that we can be proud of what this committee has done for our ratepayers in the community, because it's always a hard thing to balance how much of ratepayers' money should go into something to taxpayers' money and stuff like that, and getting all the dominoes to line up together to get stuff done through it there. So have a good election, and then hopefully we'll see each other back in the new year. So thank you. Phil.
I'll just close this with a karakia. Unahia, unahia, unahia mai te uru tapa nui, kia wātia, kia mama, te nākau, te tinana, te hininaro. I te ara takatui, koi rā e rongo, e whakairea aki ki runga, kia tina, humie hui tāki e.
Okay, lunch should be just about ready next door to people too. Join us.